and welcome to the Say I Do with Fuze podcast, the podcast for you if you're recently engaged or are planning your dream wedding ceremony. My name's Alan Edwards, I'm one of the Fuze celebrants and host for the podcasts, and I'm joined on this episode by my fellow celebrant and Fuze Ceremonies brand ambassador, George McLean. And we have a special guest with us as well. Susan Spence is the Group Wedding and Events Manager for the Manorview Group. Manorview are an independent Scottish hospitality operator and have 12 venues across central Scotland, many of them serving as popular wedding venues. And Fuze Ceremonies are delighted to be the preferred celebrant supplier with the Manorview Group. So in this episode, myself, George and Susan we'll be discussing the way that we as Fuze celebrants work together with Manorview venues and their staff to ensure that your day is as smooth and as stress-free as possible. We look at the importance of getting to know you as a couple and being able to tailor your entire day exactly to your dreams and wishes. And we also are going to look at our respective foundations and the ways in which we hope to collaborate in the future to benefit charitable causes. Susan, thank you so much for coming in and joining us on this episode of the podcast. I suppose we should go back to the start, really, to begin with, and tell us a bit about how your journey with Manorview began. How did it all start?
So I started with Manorview 15 and a half years ago, so not yesterday, and watched Manorview venues grow into a really, really big, important part of the wedding industry. It's been a long journey and we've loved every moment of it. And I think, to be honest, we've learnt just given exceptional value, a great experience and a fantastic product is really is ethos behind every single venue and everything that we offer. The thing I love about Manorview is the fact that we've got something different to offer. Like in the venues that you just mentioned, there's a castle, there's a mansion, there's a kind of barn style feel venue, so there's a little bit of everything, so it's good because we've got a real good variety. My time at Manorview, I've done a little bit of everything. So I've done very operational work, so actually hands-on operating weddings. I've done a lot of the planning, a lot of team mentoring and development. And right now I am moving to do a little bit of our Manorview Foundation as well, which is our charity. The great thing I love is the opportunities are endless, and as a venue, although we are quite big, it still feels very family run, like it did 15 years ago,
yeah.
which is what I love.
You'd always be quick at telling us what you've not done.
I know.
and of all the different things your job entails, have you got a favourite thing that you like to do?
My favourite thing is the weddings.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it about them?
It's just taking somebody through the best, one of the best, most important experiences that they'll have in their life, and that just excitement and taking what their vision is, because everybody's vision is different for their wedding day, and almost helping bring it to life. There's no better feeling, and it's really rewarding. We
talk about that a lot as well, working as celebrants, about the different things that we can offer potential couples with how they can plan the ceremony. Is it the same for you from a venue standpoint?
I would say so, and it's probably one of the reasons why Fuze and Manorview have had such a long-standing relationship, is because it's about being personal. It's about taking what people want and making it personal, and not just making it one wedding fits all. I think that's really what I love, because it makes it different.
I mean, you'll have seen that as well, George. You, like me, sometimes you can be doing a couple of weddings perhaps in the same venue in a short space of time, and you can walk into a ceremony room and it feels like a completely different place than when you saw it a few days before.
Yeah, often couples say to me, I've seen your posts on social media or something, and I know you've been to your venue tons of times, but I always stop them in their tracks and say, you know what, every single time I walk into that venue it feels completely different, because for a start the couple's different, so their story's different, so already the kind of feeling you have, you're in a different kind of mindset. And of course when you start mixing with different suppliers, particularly the suppliers who dress the venues, they give it a kind of a different vibe and look as well. But the great thing about all your venues, Susan, as you well know, you've been in them all, is that they've all got a bit of uniqueness to them, haven't they? And they often don't need a lot of decor. You know, they've got their own kind of vibe and feel already, you know. I was just at Beauclair just at the weekend there, and I just love all the kind of mirrored pillars, because they shoot different reflections of different things that are happening around the event space.
Yeah, George and I have got a thing whenever we go to Beauclair, you have to do a mirror selfie in one of the pillars.
I'm going to look out for that.
You do that. There's a collection of them on Instagram.
It's becoming a Fuze thing, I think.
Yep.
Not just an us thing. Yeah.
So that the collaboration we've got then, Susan, for you guys at Manorview, how important is that? You know, you're recommending Fuze Ceremonies. How do you find the working relationship with ourselves?
To be honest, with any supplier that we recommend, you need to make sure that they're given the right guest experience, that the couples feel comfortable and have confidence in what you're passing on. Fuze Ceremonies did my own wedding, so I speak from personal experience that I knew that the guest experience was really good. It was different. When I first started in wedding events, it was very registrar-led. It was very different 15 years ago. And celebrants was a new thing. It was a thing that people didn't really know of, and they weren't really sure was it legal, how did it work? And I think that Fuze probably introduced Manorview to that kind of whole, oh hang on, this is personal, it's really different, and you can really tailor your ceremony to exactly what you want, which is why I had mine that way, and it's become such a big thing now, to be honest. That we know when we recommend Fuze that people get to pick a celebrant and almost tailor that experience to exactly what they want.
Do you find that when people are booking the venue, because I'm just thinking about conversations I've had with, you know, couples who may or may not have booked with me, do they ask you about the ceremony and say, well, how do we get someone to do that part? Do they think that you guys supply someone, and do you then have to kind of explain a little bit more, and that's what perhaps leads you then to recommending us?
Well, when we meet couples, to be honest, we go through everything that's included in the package, and quite often it'll say ceremony room hire and some of the offerings that we've got. So we will explain that that's the room hire for the ceremony, but you do have to arrange your own celebrant or your own registrar, your own religious, whichever you choose. And I think at that point we go into a little bit more detail, because a wee bit like planning my own wedding, that was something that I'd never experienced before, like putting your bands in and the different things that you have to do in order to be able to have your ceremony. So the good thing is that our team have kind of got the knowledge that they can say, and I'm quite confident. I always say, like, see if you pick a few ceremonies, like, the great thing is they'll help you through the process, because nobody likes paperwork, let's face it.
True.
But it's part of a wedding day.
It's interesting you use that phrase, bands, putting your bands in.
Yeah.
Because it's quite an old phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
I often get couples say to me, yeah, my mum and dad said I have to put my bands in. I think it's just a phrase from years ago, isn't it? When people applied for back in the kind of registry office days when it was done that way. But essentially it means complying with the 12-week, 29-day rule with the window of opportunity of applying for a marriage licence, which we take them through. Top to bottom, absolutely. Yeah.
So then, George, from our point of view, working alongside, the Manorview coordinators, how do we work with them on a day to make sure that the couples get a seamless experience, if you like?
Well, the first thing team do at Fuze when we get on site is go and find the coordinator who's on duty, and it's often somebody we know really well. Or if it's not somebody we know that well, we'll introduce ourselves and kind of make sure that we get in sync. I think that's the phrase I like to use the most, and I reassure couples with, is that they shouldn't be even double thinking that things are happening. They should know that it's just going to happen. So the sort of stuff that we would lays with Susan's team on would be, as the bride on site, when they're arriving, what time they plan on sitting the guests down. Are things kind of running on time? Does it feel like there's things that are running on time? Things like the symbolic gestures, often couples will drop the box of stuff off, won't they, Susan, to the night before of, and there's the candles or hand fasting stuff might be in the box or something like that. Getting that understood, and obviously along with the other suppliers, the key ones being photographers and videographers, content creators and the likes that are to liaise with it for our part of their day. But our relationship with the coordinators is essential. They really look to us for the kind of nod of, right, we're ready to start the ceremony, and vice versa. Yeah. And there's that, when I say the nod there, there's the classic moment where the coordinator will just do the thumbs up at the door or the curtain that says, right, we are ready outside now,
green light.
Depending on where the bride or the groom are arriving from, of course, it might be that you've already had a chat with them maybe in the hotel room when they're getting ready and on the venue. But if it's someone arriving maybe by car, it might be just a kind of nod or a thumbs up. It's that kind of silent in sync bit.
And it's so important because, like, when you sit the guests for the ceremony, even as a guest going to a wedding, you don't want to be sat for 15-20 minutes waiting on a bride. So you really do need to make sure that the whole announcement ceremony's ready to go, guests are in, sat down, and it starts, because I think that people are excited and they don't want to sit and wait either.
I know, if you sit them too early, it's just like people need the toilet and all sorts of stuff going on, you know.
It's a fine balance.
It's a fine balance, yeah. But that insyncness has got to be there with the coordinators, and as I say, over the time you get to know a lot of the team. Sometimes you get into a venue and say, were you not in another venue last week? Because they might be kind of multi-covering somewhere, or they've maybe just moved, maybe you had a wee shuffle of people. Yeah.
Or as I was getting, when I had a run of weddings at the Torrance in October, I walked back in for, I think it was the third one. You again. Although in a way it was quite a nice thing, because although they were having a laugh, it was almost as well like, oh, it's you. Great, right, okay, and that really is.
I hope they got you a coffee and a bacon butty if it was third time in a row.
Susan, you know I'm a man of simple pleasures. That's all I require. But from your point of view as the coordinators, you know, how important is it for you to touch base with celebrants on the day and you know, make sure that nothing's been missed and we're all kind of singing from the same song sheet, if you like.
It's obviously the start of the day, and it's the first part. To be honest, most of our brides are on site for our ceremonies, so most of them stay and are with us. Or if they're arriving by car, you've got to make sure that they leave and that they're going to be arriving on time, and that the celebrants got everything that they need. Like they've got the marriage certificate, it's checked, and that they've got all the hand fasting things. Because 9 times out of 10 we take all of that the day before and we set it all out normally on the ceremony table ready to go. And I think that if we didn't have that relationship, timings on things like music and things like that just wouldn't be as smooth. Kind of, as you said, insync's the right thing to say.
And it's funny, these are little intricate things, and probably most times brides and grooms aren't concentrating on all of that.
Well, the great thing is it's so easy because you love what you do. It's such a nice thing to do, to help somebody through their wedding, that actually, to be honest, doesn't feel like it. Just feels like a really nice, rewarding thing to do at the end of the day. Yeah.
So when couples come in to see you, Susan, whether they're looking to potentially book a venue or they have booked probably moreover, and it's like, okay, right, let's get going with this. And a lot of them just a bit like rabbit in the headlights. Right, what do we do now? What do we need to do? What do you do for us? That sort of thing. Because, you know, it can be quite a overwhelming experience.
Definitely. I think the great thing about Manorview is that we have some fantastic offerings that include lots of things like flowers, cakes, DJs. So for a lot of couples, that it's kind of like an instant comfort for them, because they're like, okay, and I'll be like, listen, you get to go and do the fun part, the cake tasting, pick what type of cake you want. You just don't need to worry about the supplier, and finding the supplier. So I think for a lot of what we do, we make it so easy for the couple just to enjoy wedding planning rather than stress about the little things. Mm-hmm. And the great thing is, the team and myself, at 15 years in, not just suppliers that we offer, recommended suppliers, so hair, makeup, we can pretty much help guide a couple in any direction that they want to go with anything. So, but yes, it is a very daunting experience when you're at the beginning.
Yeah, but you're in good hands.
You are indeed.
Is the main thing. And that is the thing as well. You're offering a package. It's not necessarily just a venue space.
No, and I think that was kind of at the start of our Manorview journey. We said, listen, we don't just want to meet couples' expectation, we want to exceed them. We want to do everything that we can to make sure that they have a great day. And that kind of starts off from the second that they view the hotel right up until, to be honest, after the wedding as well. Now,
we're the same, George. We at Fuze, we want to exceed the expectations as well. And I very often get, if maybe it's a meeting with a couple who are thinking about booking you, and they'll say, we don't really know how this bit works.
Yeah,
but it's as important for us as well, isn't it?
Well, as Susan said, once you're putting their safety of their hands, if you like, that they trust you, I should say. That's important, and they do. It's interesting how couples come to find us in terms of picking you individually. With Susan and team's recommendations, they'll often go to the website, use the live checker tool that we have, and of course that's a bit of they kind of look at people's faces, and of course that's what you're drawn to first of all, or maybe they're given a name, maybe of us individually, because we've maybe been seen in action a few times or something like that, which is great. But often what I always ask my couples is, so you've booked Buccleuch, Cornhill, wherever it is, so who else have you got booked? And it's interesting, thankfully most of the time you are a celebrant is high up in the next booked list of people.
We always say go
and get that next. Although there's a couple of odd ones. You're thinking you're down there with the crisp wall and the sweetie car. You're like, okay, yeah, well, I'll help you just the same though.
The party's high on the priorities for those couples.
Exactly.
Which, to be honest, I think which is why I love, like, for example, sometimes we'll do it straight after the ceremony. We want all of our guests to do a shot of Tequila Rose, and you think, you're about the party, let's just make the lighting right, let's make the mood right, let's make sure that part is really a focus on the kind of layout for your day. Funny, when I was planning my own wedding, I always thought that the ceremony was a wee bit like, okay, I can't wait to have the ceremony, but I had 122 people at my wedding. I wanted a big wedding and a big celebration with my family. And in reflection, the day after, the ceremony was one of my favourite parts because it was so personal, and everybody got to see it and be a part of it. I must admit, I was maybe you were maybe Crispball, and you went up and you went up in expectations.
Where was your wedding then?
My wedding was at the Lyndhurst.
The Lyndhurst, right? Yeah. Okay.
My husband was a Toastmaster there, so and we met at the Lyndhurst, so. It was kind of just fitting that we had our wedding there, to be honest, and it was a great day.
And do you remember did you have any kind of symbolic gestures during yours, and they kind of told your kind of love story, your journey and stuff?
They did. So our love story was quite humanist, because obviously it is. We get Manorview actually gave 6 employees a holiday to Tenerife. And my husband and I were on that holiday, and let's just say he says that's where he laid the concrete. So.
Foundation.
Yes.
So our ceremony was, although it was very fun, and I wanted it that way. I'd seen a lot of Fuze ceremonies by that point, and I knew kind of the way that I wanted my ceremony to be. Our symbolic gesture, we did candles.
Candles, right.
So it was a candle for me, a candle for my husband, and a candle for our chocolate Labrador, and then one of us all together.
Nice.
He was not there on the day.
All right. I'm just thinking about dogs and naked flames all of a sudden.
So maybe not a good thing. Yeah, candles can be used in different ways, of course. You can have it like very bespoke for that. Often you get the mums maybe involved from the couple who light the side candles, and then the couple light the unity candle in the middle.
Which is nice because it's involving other family members, which is nice.
And it's something a lot of couples don't realise, that they think of, right, well, best man's doing this and maid of honour's fixing the dress, etc., and maybe page boys and flower girls and stuff, but it's like, no, your mum could do this, or your pal could do that, or they can sign your marriage schedule, or they can read a poem, or all these kind of things. Involve who you want, involve as many folk as you want.
I met with a couple last week at one of our venues, and they're doing a cuddle. Everybody has to stand up and hug the person next to them before the ceremony starts. And I thought that was a new one for me. I thought that's really nice. Yeah. And they were chuckling because they were like, it'll just be really awkward for people if they don't know both the people that are standing next to them.
But one of mine that wanted to do that, we've got that on our list. It was actually, I think, called a Mexican hug.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be kind of like a Mexican wave. It kind of transfers around the room, but often I explain it as a Scottish cuddle. And this couple said, we want to do that specifically to make people get out their comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think that was exactly the reason that the couple that I met were doing it as well. But yeah, and I loved it. I thought that's something that I hadn't personally seen before, and I thought that's really, really good, really dead different.
So if you meet people randomly in the street, weeks later, did I hug you at a wedding a couple of weeks ago?
I think that happens regardless of the Scottish hug in the ceremony.
That'll happen.
The longer the day goes on, the more of that I think you see, to be honest. So, what about with weddings, Susan, that you've been working at, over recent times, throughout 2024, if you like? Have you seen anything that's kind of become sort of a bit of a trend, that maybe you didn't see so much last year, the year before?
So the biggest one for me is probably content creators.
Yes.
That's probably the biggest change in 2024, I would say, that I've seen, and I love seeing the content afterwards, because it's lots of small snapshots of the day.
It's probably worth explaining then what a content creator actually does, because I get asked this, and you see the posts on blushing brides and all that kind of stuff. What's the difference between a videographer and a content creator, and should I have both, if people are thinking that way?
I think a lot of people do have both, to be honest. My intake of a content creator is that they do small snapshots. If you think more like social media, like short videos that you would watch on social media, still images and short video, whereas a videographer, I think, kind of almost plays the entire story of the day. Yeah. So they in one seamless kind of motion, whereas I think that's the difference between the main difference between the two. content creators tend to be, when they come into the venue, a lot more relaxed as well, and they get the guests involved. I've seen a lot that have got the guests involved with short snaps and short videos as well, so it's definitely something new for this year that's coming in. But I do think there's a place for both a videographer and a content creator.
Yeah. And I think the content creator stuff's a wee bit more immediate as well, because they get it, pretty much the next day.
I think the great thing about it is I think the way I like to pitch it to people is it's like following yourself around on your wedding day. If you could follow yourself around, if that was possible, with your phone,
good description,
then that's kind of what you would be doing. Just stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, and just you get hundreds of clips and hundreds of pictures, and but the highest quality. Because the great thing about modern phones are they're just the cameras on them are just incredible these days. They really are. They're really brilliant. And if you're really clever with the settings on them, like these wedding content creators are, there's a lot of hidden sort of settings on iPhones and the likes that actually make it even better. So yeah, we've seen that as well, Susan. It's one of the questions I always ask is who's your suppliers, and I've added that in the list now.
Yes, absolutely. The other thing I'm starting to see now is the role of flower girls and boys being played by adults.
Yes.
That's happened quite a few times.
I love it.
A flower man. I've got a wedding this weekend where the bride's brother is a flower bro, and one of my brides had her grandparents as a flower girl and page boy.
Nice.
And they were, and by the way, they all take their role very seriously. Can I just say,
flower gran
and grandpa.
You seen a few of them over the time,
we have. I've had gents go down with bun bags and sunglasses.
Yes.
Yep.
Rather than delicately throwing the petals on the aisle, they've been more thrown at the guests.
Yes, aye. Yeah, deliberately in your face. type of thing.
But yeah, there's I think an additional entertainment, like little people are putting a little extra into their wedding, whether it be like singing servers or a big one's like saxophone players doing a set at night time's become quite a big thing recently as well. Just trying to make their wedding a little bit more unique. And it's funny because the biggest thing you think about when you're planning your wedding is your guests, not yourself.
I know, it's true.
And I always say to couples, don't do that. Do what you want to do, and shape it that way. These people are friends with you for a reason. Like they'll love what you choose. But we notice like the wee additional entertainment touches, which I love, like anything from caricaturist to magician to sax player, singing waiters, just that little bit.
I think they help with the lulls, isn't there? There's traditionally probably 2 lulls on a wedding day, and it's like at the pudding bit of the meal.
Yes.
Drinks reception for one,
between ceremony and photos.
Then there's that bit with the meal, and then I think just before or just after the buffet at night, and that's where sax players are amazing, aren't they? They can really bring it to life.
I think they can almost lift it as well. I love a sax, and the thing I love about our drinks reception areas, like after the ceremony, is they don't feel like a hallway, they don't feel like a waiting area. They're comfortable spaces. Aye. So it almost feels like when you're out, you can easily sit and have a couple of cocktails and relax, to be honest, at that point.
Aye, definitely.
You certainly can.
One of the things I've seen, Alan, is, and it happened just at the weekend there, a recorded message from the bride before she walked down the aisle. And it started off something like, hi, X, I know you said I couldn't do a speech, but this technically isn't a speech. And then she done this whole really lovely message, and he was in bits. He was in bits. It was a content creator's heaven, and a videographer's heaven, photographer's heaven, because the shots they got of him, and he was a bit of a jack-a-lad sort of guy by his own admission. And I think sometimes the bigger they are, the harder they fall. With the guys sometimes. So that's one that I've seen. Another really beautiful one is, we were talking about mums earlier with the candles, but there was a gesture going around. I've sort of called it the mother's kiss. I don't know if it's got a real name or not, but essentially before the celebrant makes the declaration of your husband and wife, husband, wife or wife, then they invite the mums up. And the wording is something like, these 2 wonderful ladies brought these 2 people into the world and were the first to hold them and kiss them. So it's only right they are the people to give them their last kiss as single people before their first kiss as a married couple. And honestly, Susan...
My wee boy's only 7 and I'm getting all emotional.
I saw the video
beautiful.
you put up for this, and I was nearly... I'd never seen it before. I was nearly away. Wow. Very, very powerful.
And the one I done was the mums didn't know what was happening, of course.
Even
so it was
more
even
so
more hankies at
wow.
hankies at the ready. It was like the whole place was in bits. For a nice reason, though.
Of course, no, absolutely.
for a nice reason.
All these things are, but there's your two extremes. That moment of real, oh my goodness, taking you back, taking your breath away, and then your Chris Walls and your Flower Bros and all the rest of it. So, yeah, all the emotions.
But yeah, that's really nice. I've actually got a same-sex wedding to gents this weekend at the Busby, and they've been so much fun, these guys, creating the ceremony with them, and they're breaking every traditional rule in the book. They're upstairs, they're getting ready together. They're just doing, it's just anything and everything. Not in a deliberate way, just kind of want to do it their way.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That's
the way it should be.
Superb, it really is.
People will often say to us, what's the traditional order for the top table? And I'll say, well, wait, who do you want to put on your top table? Do it the way you want to do it. I took my pap up on our top table, and I'm a firm believer that people should do what they want to do. They shouldn't. Traditions are kind of coming away. It's the same with kind of lineups are a thing of the past, where you shook everybody's hand going in for the meal. Very few of our couples want to do that. COVID kind of killed it, to be honest. And it's But people are doing it. Instead of that, they want a big entrance with their own song, and they want to so there's little things that kind of replace new trends.
New traditions, aren't they? They're creating it for a new generation, really.
Exactly.
Creating a new set of traditions. And I think as well, grooms parties and bridesmaids parties, if you like. There's all one recently where the bride and groom had mixed male and female friends, bridesmaids and groomsmates, because they had guy pals and girl pals on both kind of equations. Yeah, which I thought was quite a nice wee quirky rename. But often there's two best men, isn't there? Two maids of honour. So there's again all these things they've been around for a while, but I think they are growing pace again.
Bridesmen, groomsmaids, whatever way you want to do it now.
Aye. And often the couple's kids are at the wedding, aren't they, as well, and particularly weird ones who give a bit of attention.
Yeah. Well,
light relief.
I had two wee guys doing ring security at the Bowfield on Saturday, and they came down and they had the sort of men in black shades on, taking it very seriously, and wanted to shake my hand afterwards and everything. These wee guys were 7 and 5, and they were absolutely brilliant. But we did at my own wedding at Bowfield, we did the entrance thing because we'd seen it on an Instagram video. And that's the thing now, if you're planning a wedding yourself, you'll have seen things on Instagram or TikTok. I think, I wonder if we can do that. And it's even better if you don't tell your guests. So when rather than it being piped in, we got, that Endor song, Pump It Up.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And we come into this beat. And you can see everybody looking, going, what else going on here? And then we just sort of clapped our hands, and then it was and then by probably about 30 seconds in, they were like, yeah, okay, we're on board with this, we get it now. So
I can get the beat going now.
Get the beat going, aye. The older folk were a bit like, huh? But it's a moment from the day that everybody remembers.
What have you seen in live music, like ceremony sort of time of the day, Susan? What have you seen over the years of changes on that side?
Well, I think, to be honest, a lot of the ceremonies, I think your string quartet and things are always your kind of classic, to be fair. A lot of people, I think, pick music. I think they find it hard. So see when we're planning, obviously it's a stage of planning that we ask for the music and we control the music and play it, but we can't pick it. Quite a lot of couples don't have a specific song, or especially when you're asking for maybe 3 or 4 songs. Some people will have them sing acoustically live, which is always really nice. I find more and more people are trying to find a good song in a different version, so a unique version. So it's maybe a classic, but it's played in a completely different way.
An instrumental or a slowed down version of what's known to be an upbeat song.
I'm not very good at my music, admittedly, but I quite often Google the songs once they've given us from the planet. I want to hear that song. Let's have a wee listen to that.
I always have a wee listen. If I get a list of songs from couples and I think, I don't know that, and then I have a wee listen and think, just keep a wee note of that for anyone in the future that might.
Rock stuff is quite popular. I've had some Foo Fighters tracks, but string versions of them. Yeah. And the likes. It's nice having live music. I find it's you can get pinpoint precision. When the aisle walking is happening, and you just maybe do a bit like the glance over with the coordinator thing we were talking about earlier. You almost glance to the violinist or the string coordinator or the singer, and you just bring that last strum to an end. But you can equally have a nice fade out as well with a live track. Yeah, couples often say to me, I've been told to pick, is 2 tracks enough for the signing? I said, listen, just pick a couple of background pieces of music that you like. They can always put it in a loop if needed, you know what I mean?
I don't find it often goes over the two. I normally say to them, pick the song you want to hear first, because you might not even get, depending on how quickly you sign, you might not even get to the second song, depending on how long it is. And we always say upbeat for the song coming out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's a lot of clapping, cheering. It needs to be something that's very...
You can hardly hear it sometimes, that last song. Because the place is erupted.
Yeah.
Yep.
You often, as a celebrant, don't get and here they are, the new... And
you don't get the words out.
You hardly get the words out because you're just completely drowned out.
Yep. What was the name again? Let's go back to talking about the respective foundations. So we'll come on to talk about the Fuze Foundation, George, in a wee second. But you're stepping in to do more work yourself, Susan, with the Manorview Foundation. So a little bit of background about the foundation itself and also what your role is going to be within that.
So it's really exciting. About a year and a half ago now, the Manorview Foundation was created. Its purpose is to help people in poverty, which is obviously something that's risen. And a lot of our team members volunteer. We've got a hub in Coatbridge, which is our first hub, which offers hot meals, safe space to play, offers adults and kids sessions. And we want to do a lot more. So we want to do mentoring. We want to help people who are struggling to get employment to come in and do apprenticeships and learn about hospitality and potentially join the team at Manorview. We want to do mentoring in schools. So there's a lot of different things connected to poverty that we want to do. And my move to the foundation came simply from volunteering and seeing what it has to offer and what it could be. Truly believe that it's got great potential. I was there last night until 8 o'clock with the chicken nuggets on the go, and it was really good. It's really rewarding to be able to help people in need, and it's a wee bit different. The weddings, you're taking people through the best day, and the charity's helping people get out of the worst day. Yeah. So it's almost like, but it's still, in the end, it's all about the people. So,
and what kind of positive, kind of feedback and impact have you had from it since? What have you experienced in your time that's given you a wee buzz, if you like, or a kind of glow?
So we've done lots of things. We've taken buses of kids to like Kelburn. We've taken them to M&Ds. We've got the hub. We do our Christmas parties are currently in the thick of planning. So we give 1,500 children in central Scotland a Christmas party to give them a day. Some of these kids are not getting the Christmas day that the others might get. So those take place next month at all of our venues, and then we're doing things like we're doing a steak pie drive this year with social work to give everybody a New Year's Day meal that's prepared that they can cater to. So far we've done lots of things. There's lots more to come. And to be honest, we couldn't have done it without the team members, our suppliers, and the support of everyone behind us. And the great thing is the team working in hospitality, you get an app for chatting to people and just people feel relaxed. Yeah. So our team members are really, really good at making people feel like really special when they come into our spaces, which is great.
Yeah. George, we've spoken in the past about our own foundation at Fuze, the Fuze Foundation. A little bit of background about our ethos and our beliefs.
Well, we set up in 2012 when Fuze Ceremonies and the Fuze Foundation were born, and we have 5 key purposes. The first one is to promote humanism through offering humanist legal marriage ceremonies, and if you're a Fuze legal marriage officer, then that's where you get your marriage licence through the National Records of Scotland. So through that, it's also about giving people a choice, particularly around about. We also run funeral services as well as baby namings and renewal of vows and the likes. But for the other ceremonies that we perform, particularly funerals, we're big on promoting diversity, inclusivity, and giving people a choice of how they want to say goodbye to a loved one. So with a legal wedding through the foundation as a non-religious ceremony, diversity, inclusivity and promoting religious harmony, we are more relaxed on the kind of funeral side of things, where we can offer couples and families additional things like inclusivity of religious content if they so wish it. And we're really, really, really passionate about fighting funeral poverty. So in Scotland in particular, there is a huge amount of people who unfortunately put themselves into debt to say goodbye to loved ones. So we have over the years conducted 100 free funerals to the tune of around about £31,000 of free funeral services to those in financial need. And of course, needless to say, that we provide free funeral services through our celebrants for child's funerals and terminally ill people also. And we've recently, just last year, about 18 months ago, partnered with another charity called Caledonia Funeral Aid, who are based in Scotland and offer the direct cremation services, but they also offer help and support for guiding people through that, and we provide celebrants through that. And just recently also linked with a company called Funeral Link, a charity in Dundee as well. And one of the other big things is supporting charity, giving back. We love to give back. So for every legal wedding that we perform through Fuze Ceremonies, we make a donation to the Fuze Foundation, and in turn we support charities. So each year we adopt charities, and for the second year in a row this year, our team at our AGM picked the Beatson Cancer Charity and Alzheimer's Scotland to be our nominated charity for the second year in a row. But over the years we've given back thousands and thousands of pounds, but in particular the last 3 years. So in 2012 we gave back £16,000 to Chaz, Sam H and the Scottish Cot Death Trust through donations and fundraising. And 2023 was £10,000 to Alzheimer's Scotland and Beatson. And then this year we're on track to match that, if not more, maybe about £11,000 to Beatson and Alzheimer's Scotland. So as I say, that's a mixture of team have done some fundraising stuff and we're giving back through each ceremony. So couples love that as well, because they know it's a good moral compass. They really, really love the fact that we're a big on kind of giving back. And the team have done stuff like jumped out of planes, ran marathons.
Not me
walked.
yet.
One of our team even done a cycle from Cambodia to Vietnam a couple of years back. Morag, our chair of the Fuze Foundation, jumped out of a plane just this year in February up in Perthshire for Alzheimer's Scotland. Afternoon teas, you name it. We've kind of done lots of things around in the team. So yeah, that's pretty much what we very much aligned, Susan, with you guys. It's about giving back, and it fits in with our key purposes perfectly well, and humanist values, of course.
It's definitely one thing whenever I speak to couples or potential couples, when they find out that they're giving a percentage of their celebrant fee, if you like, or their legal wedding fee to our nominated charities, they really like that idea that they are giving something back at the same time. So it's and law may continue in both cases.
And I think the charities we're supporting just now there's not many households that can't say that there's someone not affected by those two illnesses, sadly.
I think everybody knows somebody who's struggling, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And very close to home for us in our team, our celebrant Nicole, who sadly has had a second bout of lymph cancer, I think it was, and thankfully she's out the other end now. And it was kind of cute actually, because our beautiful wee dog Juno got made the ambassador dog of Beatson recently. So yeah, the team have been right behind some of the stuff that she's been doing as well, which is only too right.
Everyone should have an ambassador dog.
Ambassador dog, yes, absolutely.
With those values in mind, then, sort of moving forward, is there scope, do you think, for the Fuze Foundation and the Manorview Foundation to work together for a shared cause, effectively?
Well, I think based on the last 5 minutes, and definitely there's definitely scope. I think, to be honest, anything that leads with helping people in poverty is something that we want to get involved in. And I think that's a great thing about the foundation, is it's almost like we're coming at it not from a charity, from a company perspective on how can the Manorview Foundation as a company help others. The great thing about charity is you find that a lot of charities link in together. That's how they grow and make sure you get to the right people.
Aye. Yeah, definitely. And I think we're already collaborating, so it makes sense to if there's an option to collaborate further on anything, a joint kind of campaign on something, we can work on that in the future. And I'm a Coatbridge man. I live 1 mile exactly from the hub in Coatbridge. Maybe I'll get a
chicken nugget.
Maybe I'll get a chicken nugget one night.
The chicken nuggets go faster when we hold it for a chicken.
And it's funnily enough, and it's old. I think it was called the Function Room.
It was,
the venue that you've now turned into the hub. Many a family event in there over the years, so very familiar with it.
Yes.
In fact, I remember doing a baby naming ceremony in there for a couple. So yeah, lots of kind of connections with Manorview and local venues.
Yeah, well, listen, we look forward to that relationship progressing over the years to come, which I've no doubts it will. Going back to the wedding side of things, Susan, so we kind of touched on this already, you know, like it's not a run-of-the-mill, it's another Saturday, it's another wedding, and you kind of go through the processes. You know, what steps do you and the team at all the Manorview venues make to have couples coming away saying, wow, what an amazing day we've had?
So it is quite a lengthy process, to be honest, and it starts around about 2 weeks before for us start ticking the boxes. Have we got everything organised? We've got things called an event sheet. Is everything complete? Are we ready? Have we got the music downloaded to Spotify for the ceremony? Have we got the table plan checked? Have we got the food preparations? So there's a lot that happens behind the scenes, normally from around about 2 weeks prior, right up to the lead up on the actual day itself, and a lot of it does rely on checklists and process, to be honest. But the heart of the actual day, it's all about giving people the best experience, because we've prepared so meticulously up until that point that we know that we can just, that's all taken care of. We can focus on making sure everybody has a great day.
Yeah, and that includes the guests, of course, as well as the couple themselves.
It does indeed. As I said earlier, like most people, that's what they worry about. They worry about their guests' experience and how their guests are going to feel. They fluff dresses, they run get drinks, canopies, they make sure everybody, the bride and groom, have exactly what they need. And there's a whole team around about them taking care of the guests.
It's interesting you say the 2 weeks thing, because I often, when I'm with my couples, is, so when's the next time you're at the venue? And they kind of say the timeline.
Yeah.
I think there's the kind of, is that the kind of very
do a
last meeting,
a month
maybe?
a month
or so?
A month we meet with the couple,
Aye.
yeah.
So, and I say to them, look, it's probably because things could change. Maybe your final numbers, or the final numbers a month before.
Yes, but table plans do often change. I've seen them
so
change on the morning of the wedding.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So I always reassure them and say, listen, don't worry about that. That's standard stuff. I said it's they'll have everything in hand, and I think checklists are good, aren't they? And anything we've got the same as celebrants. The kind of timelines and dates, and whether it be the legal stuff or just you compiling the ceremony things. Nothing wrong with a good list.
It's a good spreadsheet. I like
a good spreadsheet. Yeah.
I do like a spreadsheet.
And my
as well.
traffic light system and turning it green when I've actioned it.
Right.
That's the simple things that make me happy. Yeah, but I remember that though. I got married at Bowfield in August 22, and we went through that whole process. I think we were there 6 months before. That was the sort of initial, what kind of things do you want, for your guests, for yourselves, or through the day, all that, and then final table plans a month before. We were actually worried we had too many numbers for Bowfield. And we called an emergency meeting with our coordinator at the time. And she actually set the room up with that amount of seats, so she could say to us, right, there you go. And we're like, right, that's fine. Can we slide in between these two tables? Aye. Even with a kilt on? Yes, you can. It's fine. So, being put at ease, I think, is probably, couples want to enjoy themselves. Of course they do. But they just want to know everything's taken care of from all angles, whether that be the ceremony itself, George, or the venue as a whole.
No, definitely. They just want to know that stuff's happening. And that they don't have to worry about things. And you know what? I think it's like human nature tells you that when you read the couple, when you get to know their personality and what makes them tick, then if you're a good people person, you will adapt your style to that couple, because some will need more care and attention than others.
Yeah.
That's just life, isn't it? It doesn't mean that you don't give it less care and attention in the background, though, because you'll give it exactly the same attention. I think that's the best way to put it, Alan. You just kind of read the couple.
That's it. You kind of get to know, and you'll be the same, I'm sure, from a venue point of view, Susan, that as you do get to know a couple, you'll think of things that you've done in the past, and then you can maybe offer a suggestion just based on their characters and their personalities, whereas there's maybe other stuff in your head you think, well, that isn't going to suit that couple, and it's hard to pinpoint a reason why one thing wouldn't suit a couple, but you just do get to know their sort of personalities over time, don't you?
Absolutely, and some couples are very laid back. They're like, oh yeah, we could do this, or yeah, and you do get a sense of, what, based on me knowing you, I think that you would love to do this. I think that you would love to do that. And you don't have to. Would you like to? What's your thoughts? And I think that giving people different options definitely helps enhance their day. Because as we said, like, although we see a lot of weddings, the couple, some couples that we arrange a wedding for have never been to a wedding.
Yeah.
You know what? That is something I've heard quite a bit recently. I don't know why there's been a wee spate of that, but that's so true, isn't it?
It's
Or they were out when they were 10 or something, and they weren't even in
Yeah.
a wedding space at that
Yeah.
point anyway.
Your first wedding is your own.
Aye, but essentially, yeah. You mentioned earlier, Susan, a lot about the guest experience, or the couple focusing on their guest experience. What sort of stuff do you and the team do to say to the couple, listen, take 10 minutes here and there yourself? And is there, I suppose every venue is different, but are there areas in most of the venues that the couple can just go and disappear for 10 minutes?
Yeah, and that, to be honest, I normally say do it straight after the ceremony, because I think that the ceremony can be overwhelming to a point. So I think after the ceremony, it's a good opportunity for the photographer to get some shots of just the individual couple, but it's also the couple's opportunity to say, my goodness, we're married.
I sort of say that to couples, that that's almost the first chance you have to talk to each other.
Aye.
Because you're going to have spent the day up till that point, and indeed over and above that, talking to everybody else, making sure you said hello to everyone.
Yeah.
And then how much time do you actually spend talking with each other? And then you've obviously had separate mornings, so the bride can talk about her morning, the groom can talk about his. Each member of the couple, we didn't see each other this morning, what happened? So there's all these things, and I say to all my couples, at some point, 10 minutes, disappear. Don't tell anyone you're going away. And then you can make up an excuse when you reappear, and just have that little...
To be honest, nobody will notice it anyway.
No, exactly.
normally
Too busy catching up with folk they've not seen for years.
I normally recommend escaping to the honeymoon suite for 10 minutes, because you generally, you can't be found in there. That's your space.
You've got it. Yeah.
And the Manorview honeymoon suites is something that we do uniquely. They're
my
all
goodness.
they're all very special. It's getting them back out the honeymoon suite. That's the problem.
I always say to couples, isn't that honeymoon suite excellent in wherever it is? And it's the probably least amount of time you'll spend in it in your life, but you will get yourself in there when you can.
Absolutely, and I always say that the next days for sleeping, make sure you enjoy the honeymoon suites, because they are a very unique thing that we do across them all.
Signature.
I struggle to pick a favourite, to be honest. I'm
Well,
not picking a favourite.
Don't ask me, Alan, because you won't get an answer.
So I wouldn't put you in that position, but what I wanted to ask you about each venue, maybe you could just trip through each one, and tell us something. What's your standout in each venue?
I suppose it's down, everybody picks out something different that they love about the venues. And it's funny, because if you don't go to a venue for a month or two, you'll almost arrive and you'll be like, oh, I love that. To go through them, Beauclair House, I love that. I feel like I'm walking in. It's a mansion, and you've got the whole venue is exclusive to weddings.
Yeah.
So you almost feel
Starts from the outside, doesn't
a
it?
sense of grandeur when you even just pull in the driveway. I love the Gatsby. It's almost got that kind of Gatsby feel to it. For Bowfields, I love the rustic barn vibe. I love the fact that you can make a weekend of it. Your family can almost stay again, use the swimming pool. Like, I've got a wee boy, so he loves the soft play, and their lodges with hot tubs are an excellent addition.
Yep.
Speaking
Noticed
from
that.
experience.
Yes, likewise.
Brisbane House is the seaside. Just
yeah.
That view.
The view, and the drive down there is just amazing itself. It's almost therapy in the car.
Well, your excitement's building, even you know you're heading to
Before
the
you've
seaside,
got
don't you?
And the fish and chips for lunch is always a bonus. The Busby, I love the terrace. I love the external terrace. I love the height. I love the music. I love when there's people out there. That kind of vibe. It's almost got a kind of fun vibe, almost that kind of city centre kind of vibrant feel.
I think it makes it feel like an exclusive venue.
Yeah.
When obviously there's the bar and the restaurant's downstairs, but because of the terrace gives you that additional space, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you've got that full kind of upper floor, which is lovely. Cornhill Castle, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Again, Cornhill is the drive when you go in, and you've got the Clyde on your right hand side, and there's something very therapeutic about looking at Tinto Hill. Although climbing it's very different, but there's something very therapeutic about it.
Did it once.
As if I only once. But I love, again, at Cornhill, I think it's a castle, but it doesn't feel cold. It feels really warm. The Lyndhurst, I love the layout and the space. I love how it functions with the conservatory, the cocktail bar. Your guests don't feel like, as I was saying, at drinks reception feels very relaxed. I love the powder room, the gardens. I did choose that as my venue, so let's move on to the next one.
Slightly biased.
Personal connection, that's allowed. That's allowed.
The Redhurst, which is one of our newer, along with Brisbane, refurbished venues. The Redhurst gives me city centre vibes. I love the ballroom. I love the it's a big ballroom.
It's a huge space.
It's a great space. And the garden house, their honeymoon suite, which encompasses gardens, pictures, like...
Aye.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
stunning. The garden house is stunning, and it gives a whole a photographer's dream, because they've got loads of photo opportunities just in that space.
Many backdrops, yeah.
And the Torrance, again, I love the size of the Torrance. So the Torrance is almost for me like a wee mini mix of the Busby and the Redhurst put together in terms of its vibe. But it's really good because you can have intimate numbers as well, and it feels like a really, really, really nice space. It doesn't feel like a big space that you're in. My favourite thing in the Torrance is the mirrors and the reflection round the room that brings in all the light as well. So we also have the Tarbert Hotel, which is in Loch Lomond. It's new to the Manorview venue portfolio, and I love it because it's a Loch Lomond venue, and it's one that we are turning into a wedding venue. It's got its own wee brochure, and if you're looking for, I love it for elopement weddings. It's definitely in a stunning location and a lovely venue.
And Susan, you guys, like us, always attend the Scottish Wedding Exhibition, which is a great kind of two a year event, and you guys have got pretty big space there. You're quite legendary with your
can't miss it.
Is it a kind of huge pergola or something? I'm not sure how you describe it, but every venue's there, aren't you, across the 2 days?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the wedding show. It is such a busy day for us. We normally bring a calligrapher doing like handmade things. We've got a bar on the stand, and we're right in the centre of the room. So I always like to say to people, you can't miss us. Just head to the centre of the room. The wedding show is great for us because it gives us a real chance to showcase all of our venues in the one place, and couples come from all over the UK up to the wedding show. And if you're not busy at the stand, you can always head over to the Manorview bar and have a wee cocktail as well, can't you? So yeah, I love them all for something different, but to be honest, every day that I go, there's something different in the decor. I love looking at people's favours, place cards, all the little details that they've got. That for me is what brings it to life.
Well, there's some features, if you are planning a wedding and you're thinking about what are the Manorview venues, what's important to you? Is it look? Is it style? Is it location? Is it that wow moment when you're coming into a particular venue? Is it rusticness? Is it something more quaint? I mean, pretty much you covered it all there, Susan. There is something for everyone.
There is indeed. And to be honest, quite a lot of our couples go to multiple Manorview venues before making their decision, and quite often it's not the venue that they thought, maybe from looking online. They looked online and they thought, I want this feel for my wedding, but in actual fact when they come they thought, you know what, this is what we want. I always think that it's always surprising to people, and it's good for them to do a wee Manorview tour, as I call it.
Well, they're all not that far from each other, really. Particularly the ones in sort of Glasgow area and Lanarkshire. You can kind of drive there.
Cover off a few in a
cover
Some
off.
people do three in one day. To be honest, when viewing any venues, I never recommend going to more than 3 in a day. I just think it's overwhelming.
You can
for a
talk
couple.
yourself out as well, can't you?
Aye.
And it's tiring. Sometimes couples will come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, you're our 5th venue today," and I'll be like, "You poor souls,
We can't eat any more canopies."
I just feel like sit down and have a cup of tea and coffee and just have 5 minutes, because they do look like they've done a lot in one day. But yeah, there is something to offer, and they're all slightly different as well, which is
What's next in the agenda for the venues wise?
Bothwell Bridge.
Yeah.
It's just next to my house. So hurry up.
It's been tore back to a complete shell. So when I say there is inner walls, there is some inner walls.
Some inner walls, okay.
Bothwell Bridge will be a big project for us, and a big exciting thing that's coming. Currently we're going through a lot of plans and things like that as well, and just tying down layouts and things, which is taking a lot of time. So I think that it will be potentially a wee while in the making before you'll be able to get in for a coffee.
It's a big place, isn't it?
I just want to get a booking there so I can walk home.
You can walk to your
walk to my ceremony, walk home, and it takes me 5 minutes either way.
I think a lot of people hold Bothwell Bridge quite nostalgic. It's quite a centre point to them when we took it over. A lot of people, and I think to bring it to life in a kind of new style will be really exciting to see how couples really enjoy it. But yeah, that would be the next on the Manorview cards.
No.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a brilliant chat, Susan. Honestly, it's been great just to a little bit more about the inner workings of the venue side of things, and how that goes hand in hand with what myself and George and the Fuze team do. So, in kind of summing up, just as we wrap up the podcast, if a couple are listening to this and they're thinking about booking a Manorview venue, and in particular they want to have the whole day there, including their humanist ceremony, what would your top piece of advice be?
I suppose my top piece of advice would be to go and see multiple of the venues, not on the same day, and to think about what's really important to them as well as their guests, definitely to focus on themselves and not to worry, because we have, in partnership with Fuze, we can help guide them through the entire process.
And George, how would you follow that up from the celebrant's point of view?
Well, once they get in touch with us, the big thing is because we are immersed in all the Manorview venues and well versed in them, then from the first conversation with the celebrant, we really can give them confidence that, because they'll always book the venue first before us,
as you should.
And that conversation's really it's satisfying, I think, for the couple, because they know that we're in sync with the team at Manorview, and because we can describe the room size, we can talk about the entrance and the drive up to the castle and all these things, then I really think that gives them super huge amount of confidence. But ultimately, to echo Susan, it's all about do it for them first and foremost, and just take the time to pick their venue. Take the time to pick the celebrant as well. Speak to a few of the Fuze team and just see who they connect with, because it's a big part of the day. It's the first big event of the wedding day, is the ceremony. I joke with couples because I never take it personally, because often they'll say, I'll be all right once the ceremony's out the way.
Yeah, I hear that as well.
Listen, I will not take that personally. I know it's a lot on your shoulders, but trust me, once we've created this ceremony together, and we always do it together, is you'll know every word that's coming out of my mouth, then you'll feel really comfortable. And that's why most of our reviews say it felt like a friend married us, because we generally are friends with people. At the end, is it just the same as you guys have created friendships, and you'll see them down the street or in Tesco, and you'll wave over and say, I know that person, who are they again?
No, it's that building the relationships is the best part. You almost don't want to let people go in the end. That's always kind of done that. Actually, one of my couples said that. We're actually so glad it's over, because we're not going to be working with Alan anymore. It's like, I'll just renew your vows in 5-10 years time.
Keep seeing you for family life events.
And it was a Lyndhurst wedding as well, so there you go. Brings it full circle. Susan, honestly, really brilliant to have you in on the Say I Do with Fuze podcast. Thank you so much. A huge thank you to Susan Spence from Manorview for joining George and myself on the Say I Do with Fuze podcast. And I really hope that you found the chat helpful and inspiring, especially if you recently engaged yourself and you're maybe considering a Manorview venue for your big day. Or perhaps we've even opened your mind to ideas and thoughts about your wedding ceremony that you might not even have considered. If you've already booked at a Manorview venue and with a Fuze ceremony celebrant, well, you can be confident that you are in the best possible hands. I'm Alan Edwards. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, then thank you. Why not subscribe and get the latest episode downloaded directly to your podcast platform as soon as it's released? You can also have a listen back through the entire series so far, where the Fuze Ceremony celebrant team go into greater depth about some of the subjects discussed with Susan, like ideas for poems, music and symbolic gestures, as well as advice on the legal aspects of getting married in Scotland. And listen out for our end-of-year special as our celebrant team look back on their funniest and most memorable moments of ceremonies throughout 2024.